Dementia residents can get restless and unsettled later in the afternoon, often because they're tired and stressed. It's a long day living in a dementia unit and, coping with the routine, often having to get up at 7 in the morning, right through to 8 o'clock at night without any rest on the bed in that time. And if you're an older person, that's a long time to have to cope with that. Or if you're a younger person coping with that same routine, but you haven't been able to get out for a walk outside, all of this can be very, tension provoking, and stress and anxiety can really build up. For example, if you haven't had any friends or family visiting for a while, or you've been trying all day to get to friends and family and make a phone call, but the charge nurse has been too busy to make the phone call, or there's been too many other people wanting to make the phone call, all of these stresses and pressures can build up. And by late afternoon, stress can really be at a high point. So to reduce this stress, this afternoon stress, which is sometimes called sundowners syndrome, to reduce this afternoon stress and tension, you really need to look at what is it that's causing the tension or stress in the first place for the dementia resident. And if at all costs, try and see if you're in a position to be able to help. So if the reason for the anxiety and tension is because of not being able to get outside, then see if you can come in the afternoon when the person is most anxious and take them for a walk then. Mid-afternoon it can still be quite warm most of the year, and maybe not midwinter, but most of the rest of the year, autumn, spring, summer. Go for a walk then mid-afternoon if you're able to. Even in the summer after work, that's okay, but just before dinner, it's still quite warm then in most countries, in all countries in the summer. So find a way anyway to take the person for a walk outside. Even if it's winter and it's cold, take the person over to the village in the facility. Usually dementia facilities are near another, within the retirement village complex. So take them for a walk, even within the hospital or the lounge, or where the fish, often they have fish pools or fish ponds, and you can have a walk around that. That's always interesting and nice. Or the main lounge area, sometimes they have a cafe where you can have a cup of coffee inside. That's okay. At least they're out of the dementia unit. They're in another facility. They're with you. There's company, camaraderie, enjoyment, and a different scenery, just different scenery all around. Retirement villages are often well decked out inside. They have palm trees and, little ponds and birds and fishes and things, even inside. So they can enjoy, and lots of flower arrangements. And people are pretty pleasant. Especially if you're with a relative, people are going to be pleasant. Unfortunately, you can't go on there on your own if you're a dementia resident, because you'll lose your way. But with the relative, the other residents will be pleasant. They don't come over and visit the dementia facility. That's one barrier because of stigma and prejudice or whatever. It's hard to know why they don't come over and visit. Even when they've lived by a friend for 5-10 years in the retirement village, and then the friend gets dementia and goes to the dementia unit, even though they're only a couple of 100 meters away, they don't come and visit. It's sad. But if, though, you're going for a walk in the retirement village with a relative, then people are courteous in that way. So it's a pleasant, trip or walk all around. Now, the other way to reduce anxiety and de-escalate tension for people that are experiencing, this upward escalation of tension in the afternoon, sundowner syndrome, is just sit quietly in the room and looking at the sunset. After dinner is a good time. So after dinner, looking at the sunset, either in the room, the bedroom, or if you can see the sunset from there, or in the lounge, away from the television. There's often 2 lounges, so the television lounge, fine, but the other lounge, the second lounge, is often quiet. So hopefully you can see the sunset from there. So if you sit in a nice spot with your mother, say, and watch the sunset, this is a really, really good way to de-escalate tension and anxiety. It's so good. It brings people back to presence, both the dementia resident and often yourself if you've had a hard day at work. Nature at its best. Just seeing the beautiful colours of the sunset, especially in the winter when you get all those glorious oranges and reds that you don't necessarily get with the golden sunset in the summer. But in the winter, there's often beautiful colours about in the sunset, as long as there's a few clouds for the sun to reflect off, the rays to reflect off, and you get brilliant colours. And it's a wonderful way to just be able to de-escalate and settle and come into the present moment. And with this, your mother will automatically de-escalate when she's in the present moment. And you can sit with her, hold her hand, comfort her, and say how nice it is to be with her. And she'll appreciate your presence and support. And if you can do this, a couple of times a week or whatever you can to be able to help and de-escalate her mood in the afternoon, then it goes a long way to for her to be able to manage her emotions and hopefully get to the point where she can stabilise once she's adjusted and assimilated to the dementia unit. I mean, it's always anxiety provoking the first few months, but generally, if supported, most people assimilate and adjust and to a certain degree become institutionalised, being in dementia units in a way to sort of manage. In a sense, you have to, because it's then your world, isn't it? The dementia unit's your world. And so you have to acclimatise to it and adjust to it to be able to manage. And most people do. But there's so many ways to be able to help, all of which these books and videos are about. But even so, even with all the help and support, it's not easy living in a dementia unit. It takes a lot of discipline and effort to manage emotionally, especially to keep stable. And that's why if you can have a friend or make a friend, it's much easier to be able to keep on a level playing field emotionally if you have a friend who you can talk to. And also if you can be part of the activities with that group support, where hopefully there's more of a positive perspective, where everyone's making that effort to join in the activities and the exercises and the press readings and the workshops and all of that positive focus, seeing, the glass is more half full rather than half empty. If you've got 3 or 4 positive people in the group, that will lift and buoy your spirits too. And if everyone else is making an effort, to be more positive and to be more upbeat, then of course you'll make an effort to be more like that too, especially if your friends are doing that. And that's why it's good to be able to make a friend who's hopefully positive and social. If you're lucky enough to link in with someone at the dementia unit who has those good social skills, it helps a lot. So these are the ways to settle people when they have that sundowners syndrome in the afternoon, stress and anxiety, especially when they first come into the dementia unit. So I've written these 2 books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, both on Amazon. And both the books and these videos, it's all about getting the voice out about the experiences of these dementia residents and what it is that these dementia residents experience living in dementia units from their perspective, and what it is that they have to tolerate, and also the achievements that they manage to garner being in such places. I mean, they're so interested to learn about the outside world, and this is a way for us to learn about what they experience in the inside world, in their dementia unit. I mean, they don't want to be hidden away. They want their voice to be heard. They don't want to be invisible. So this is a way of being able to help get the view out of what it is that they do go through and experience. So thank you, TikTok and YouTube, for all the views. I really appreciate that. Please subscribe if you can. There's 400 videos now. It's a lot, isn't it? Over 4 months, I've done pretty much 3 a day, and will continue to do that because there's such a spectrum to be covered on all the experiences that these people in dementia units, go through and experience. So I want to cover the full range. So please subscribe if you can, because this really does help build the platform. And thank you for those of you that have subscribed and are following. Thank you so much.